Hello, my dears. Okay, I've got the right mic plugged in. The speaker seems to be correct as well. Just making sure it's set up correct on my computer as well. No, I'm gonna fix that. Okay. So, I had this video show up recommended to me recently, yesterday, as I was scrolling through YouTube. I don't find much original content anymore, although the past couple of days it has been kicking out some like original or like smaller channels to me, so that's been exciting. I always, being a smaller kind of independent channel that isn't looking to make the kind of content that is, anyway, I'm not going to get into it. Being a smaller channel myself, I appreciate that kind of thing. So I saved this video and figured I'd watch it with y'all live and respond to it while watching it. It's kind of a long video, and I do enjoy doing these longer live streams. So let's see what is in the video together, shall we? Like I said, I haven't watched it at all, but I could tell just from the title that it was going to be something that I might have some good feedback about. And we already have a viewer saying hello, welcome. Not familiar with yes, I repeat. Long live BBJ. What a name. Welcome to watching. Okay, I'm going to get it queued up here. I already do have it mostly queued up, but consent. It started playing already. Here she is. I used to watch years ago. Well, here you are again. All right. So yeah, this is the video that I found looked interesting. So let's watch it together.
Do you want to know how much I love you? What time is it?
Oh, fuck off already.
It's 5:31.
Can I just, okay. Small thing. I find it incredibly disingenuous when YouTubers do this. You don't love me. You don't know me. You don't know who's on the other side of the screen. I don't need you to tell me you love me. It's weird. Anyway.
1 a.m. And it's the only time I could think to film that's not going to actually be boiling, and that I can actually film something and get some words out. So today we're just going to have a chatty, sleepy vlog. Cozy, chatty, sleepy, body, life update vlog. Early morning is always my favourite because it's so quiet. It's so freaking quiet.
She's very quiet, isn't she?
And I managed to actually quiet my brain down for once. And it's just bliss. Early morning and late night. It's probably because this road is always so noisy, as you know. Always someone whizzing down it. It's also a Sunday. It's actually, if you're watching the day this is uploaded, it's today. Hey Google, what date is it?
It's Sunday, the 25th of June, 2023.
See? Proof. Living proof.
Well, you can do all
Now I
this
just need to
editing,
find out
but you
what to
can't
talk
even
about.
brush your hair before you get on
I'm
camera.
gonna have no problem
Oh,
talking for half an
really?
hour.
Like, what is with you?
Waxing lyrical. Oh my god, that bird is loud. That's a green parakeet. We have so many green parakeets in London, which calm down, dear. There were actually a few parrots spotted, proper red parrots the other day,
She's really getting into
spotted
it,
over near
isn't
Wormwood
she?
Scrubs. Oh my god, this is.
I'm wondering if I can speed her up a little because I am finding it rather tedious. How do you do that? There's like a. Oh, here we go. She has chapters. Okay. So, vlog, here we go. Update. We'll skip ahead to that.
So my battery died.
Where's
I'm not sure how long this is going to last. My bruise has finally nearly gone after like 3 weeks. If you were here for Bruised Gate, you know what happened. With regards to Marie Kondo and me tidying up the flat, so since I got back from holiday, well, Cyprus, it seems like a bomb's hit my flat because I've just got not only everything everywhere, less stuff, but it feels like a big state because all my stuff from my holiday is out. I just need to do a lot of putting away, and then I can like start doing the last bits. It's looking a lot better. I'm feeling a lot better about my space. I really need to clean my windows. In this light, you can really see the London grime on them. I haven't done them for about a year. It's because I like having them open when it's raining, so that it will just like. Oh my god! Are you really sitting here listening to me talking about the dirt on my windows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Having said that, a lot of you just messaged me and said, "Oh, I'll listen to you talk about anything." So this is anything. Right now, this is anything. So now it's a pigeon going for it. The other week, when I went to that V&A late, where that girl looked into my eyes and she did the dance. If you know, you know. Actually, I've got a story about that. And there's something else. So this V&A, so V&A is Victoria and Albert in London. And they did like a immersive sound music night a couple of weeks ago. And one of the rooms I went into that I haven't spoken about yet was this amazing sound bath by this lovely Japanese, I'll get her name, Japanese artist, musician. And she did like this immersive sound bath where she played a song, like a couple of notes, at like a certain hertz level, which if you know about hertz and frequencies,
She doesn't
some of
really
it is
get
like healing.
like
Anyway,
the title of this.
she gave us a bit of a speech and she asked us to write a letter to ourselves. Now, if you're interested in this, I would love for you to do it for yourself. Even if you think of it to be difficult or a challenge or you don't have time, whatever it might be, or it's too hot, just put it in your brain and do it another day. I would suggest you do it ASAP because it was just so good. So what she got me to do, what she got us all to do, was to imagine a world 6 years in the future, so not that far, 6 years, and everything you wish for your life right now, every dream, every small little inkling of something that you've even considered to dream for yourself has become reality. Everything. And without negativity of, oh, well, it couldn't happen in 6 years. No, none of that. Just imagine 6 years down the line, you're exactly where you should be / want to be. Don't sing Spice Girls. Okay. Now, stay on track, Lauren. Okay. So now, from this 6 year in the future you write a letter to current you, giving yourself like advice, or you just write a letter to yourself now of what you need to, of what now you needs to hear, of what now you, of what you have, how you can see now you looking back from 6 years, future you. She explained it quite a lot better than me. What I found absolutely incredible about this was that what came out for me, let me get it. I've actually got it here. Ah, here we go. I'm going to share my soul now, okay? Well, you are getting a bit boob, aren't you? Oh my god, I didn't
A
realise.
little bit, aren't
Sorry, it's gone now.
we?
Well, you get a hint of a
She's
shadow.
quite dull. I thought I go on, but
So now
man,
we've got it. Dear me,
I thought
6 years is a
I'm
long time,
boring, but
but
damn.
it's also flown by. Bearing in mind, we had to write this as she was playing her sound bath in the V&A Museum, so it was literally just like me automatic writing, where where you just like pen, paper,
It's a
phone,
cute name.
laptop, whatever.
You'd
You just
hate
it's like
frugal.
unconscious flow, unconscious stream of writing. Get on with it, Lauren. Okay,
Terry, you are not
dear
fat
me,
in the least. Well, no, I've
6 years
lost
is a long
quite a bit
time,
of weight.
but also it's flown
So
by.
thank you.
I'm trying to
And I
think.
have
There was it.
maintained
We had to write a letter of what we would need right now,
because I'm
what
a
we would need to
hero.
hear from now 6 year in the future person. Let's start again. Dear me, 6 years is a long time, but also it's flown by. I'm trying to think of what you really need right now. You need a huge cuddle to start off, and I would recommend getting a large box of tissues. Why do you not think that you are enough? As one of your subscribers once said, you are way more powerful than you know, and you've proved that. You've done it. Your weight is not holding you back in the way that you feel it is. Don't let it become a bigger barrier than it already is. You have struggled enough. I'm sending you freedom. I'm sending you freedom. You are beautiful, way more beautiful than you would ever give yourself credit for. You should start with those little art classes. It would be a huge hit. The business has hugely taken off, and I always knew you could do it. You are power, Lauren, and don't let that hide. It's nothing to be scared of. And then I did a heart emoji, and I said, you are magic. You are so lovable, and that isn't if you lose weight. That is right now, as you sit in this sound bath. You were meant to come here. I think what shocked me about that was the instant kindness that came out. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting also me to hit myself with the hard truth of that my weight isn't holding myself back. My weight isn't holding me back in the way I think it is. I don't even know what to say. It's really interesting when you live in a bigger body because you get used to living in something that is not socially acceptable.
Okay, so yeah, this is kind of where a lot of my irritation with this mentality comes in. This, first off, she calls it living in a bigger body. Your body has been made bigger by the actions you have taken. Okay, it's not something that has been done to you. It is something that you have done to yourself. Unless you were kidnapped and force fed, this is something that you have done to yourself. And it does hold people back. That's the thing. And she says in this letter to herself, your weight is not holding you back. I guarantee it is in so many ways. Just your level of comfort and ability to access things. I mean, the chair, sitting in the chairs in this old Victorian Albert Hall. Like, come on. If you have a very wide body, that's going to be even more uncomfortable. It's just so strange to me. It's like, it's not holding you back. It is holding you back. And once you actually come to the reality that it's holding you back and that it's something you've done to yourself and that you can undo it by making different choices, you can be liberated from the ways in which it is holding you back. Hopefully. Although, the thing is, a lot of the times, you don't escape from some of the consequences, even if you do lose weight. Losing weight will help. It will help, but a lot of the times, a lot of damage has already been done by the time people, ever get it figured out to lose weight. But again, sooner rather than later. And will she be alive in 6 years? I mean, I'm looking at her right now and just looking at this shot of her. I don't know how tall she is, but she looks very large. Very large. She looks much larger than I ever got. And I got pretty big. So, I'm wondering how it could not be holding her back in some ways, just from her physical ability to do things. And this is so common amongst like the fat acceptance movement, and these women online that they write these and say these very sappy lines about self-love, and they even get all teary about it and call themselves beautiful and say I love you, but like it falls apart very quickly when you get down to the reality and the truth of the matter. You can't love yourself and continue to eat the way you are eating. It's not loving. If you had a child, a lot of fat people do this to their kids too, so I don't know, but you would hopefully not glutton them to the point of being sick. And that's what you're doing to yourself. That's what you've done to yourself. There's nothing loving about it. And I think accepting the truth sooner than later is the most loving thing we can do. And Quinn has an interesting comment. Hello, Quinn. Welcome to the channel. The majority of Brits are overweight. Clearly, it is acceptable, just not desirable. But loving yourself enough to change it is harder than just accepting it. I mean, choose your hard. It's going to be hard either way. But a lot of the times, because people are young, because a lot of the women in this mindset online are young and they've swallowed all the toxic positivity nonsense garbage, they haven't really faced the full consequences of their obesity yet. And once that starts to happen, it's like a snowball going down a hill. It just gets bigger and bigger and more scary. And I don't think people quite realize that. And it's hard to make them realize it if they're like, in this little echo chamber. And they have people writing to them like, oh, you write things that are so lovely. I just love how positive you are. It's all nonsense. And and I don't think, anyone should go harass this woman about how she looks or what. No, I don't think that that's productive either. But there's something very disturbing about this, the way the women in this community kind of mirror these same behaviors and are living in total denial. Nothing human is alien to me. What a name. What a name. That's quite interesting. Your channel is fantastic, man. Seriously, from Radfem to where you are. I'm honestly in admiration of the depth you approach subjects with. Very graceful. Eating emotions or starving them. Don't know. I know. I mean, that's the thing too. A lot of the times it's too painful to deal with the fact that one is using food as a way to emotionally regulate. The truth is ugly sometimes. The truth isn't pretty. It's not flowery. It's not nice. It isn't wrapped in language of fake love. It's sometimes, very disturbing. And Anyway, I'm just already like watching this. It's disturbing me, but let's continue.
So therefore, it's like a constant fight, and therefore it feels like constant negativity, and we talk to ourselves negatively all the time, and we always feel like we need to be losing weight, be something different, be changing, be wanting to change, be hiding away. But that isn't the case, because there is love here, there is freedom here. The only people that have ever told us to hate ourselves is society. And if we believe that we are wrong or whatever, that's just a product of the society we live in. Yeah, so I just think that was what shocked me. I think also I live in so much fear, generally, anxiety based or whatever, that it's easy to hide behind my weight because I'm like, well, that's one of the main issues. So I'm just going to give that as the excuse. The thing about being fat though is like, well, what happened if I just started, oh, does not make sense. Let me talk. I'm trying to put how I've been feeling into words and I haven't done it yet. So that's why I'm struggling because I don't really know what I mean. Recently, there's some birds trying to like have sex in the tree.
I mean, she doesn't know what she means because she's talking nonsense. And, you know, I don't think it's just a matter of society that makes fat people dislike themselves. I mean, on some level, you know that you are fat because of how you eat. It is not anything else. It is not anything else. It is how you eat. It is the food you are eating. And you know that. But and knowing that provokes feelings of shame. You know it to be true, but you don't want it to be true because for it to be true, you would have to give up the one pleasure you have. And also you'd have to deal with the reasons why you overeat, which usually are down to complex traumas. I mean, I want to be very clear here, and I've talked about it before on this channel many years ago, but oftentimes, especially you're dealing with women who get to this size, okay? This size, this kind of very, very morbidly obese size. They're likely to have had severe childhood trauma and neglect, okay? It doesn't come around any other way. So it's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to work on as a human being. But, the fat becomes a shield around them. And then it eventually becomes a prison that they're in, keeping them small. And honestly, I mean, a lot of this like flowery language too is very immature. You notice this, like you have women of very like adult women using very like teen girl language to describe their feelings about themselves, their feelings about their bodies. I don't know. Anyway. It'd be more loving if she took care of her body. She deserves human decency regardless of what she looks like. But continually gaining weight will hold her back in a lot of ways. And exactly. And it takes a lot. That's the other thing, too. Once you understand the physics of weight gain and weight loss, it's calories in versus calories out. It takes a lot to maintain a size like this. It really does. I don't know her height or her weight, but I'm thinking she's over 300 pounds at least, looking at her. I'd say she's probably around 340. Just from what I can see there, I could be more. I could be wrong. Maybe she's very short, but she's huge. Okay, like it takes a lot of calories every day to maintain that kind of body. So it's continued overeating for years. It is not loving to do that to yourself. It's hard on the body. It's a cruel thing to do to the body. We hate crew. It says, is Terry Strange supposed to be a trad wife convert from radical SJW feminism? Epic. I don't know. I'm not a wife. I ain't got no one. I'm available. Still. I'm just me, okay? I'm just me, and I learn through experience. If I want to understand something, I have to enmesh myself in it, and that's just how I've learned and lived my life. I wouldn't call myself a trad wife. I mean, I think if I were to have kids, I would want to have a situation where, I was having a more traditional situation, but who knows if that's really going to happen. I don't think it will. I mean, if it happens, if that's what the Lord wills, but I just, I haven't seen it happening. And now she might be addicted to the attention she pulls in because of the situation, reinforcing her self-esteem. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I am looking pretty trad wife here. I didn't want to take off my little warm cardigan. This cardigan is very warm. And it's very cold for some reason. Although I have the heat on, I might take it off in a minute. Looking a little bit more alternative. Anyway, back to the video.
Sounds like pigeons. When you live in a fat body that is constantly prosecuted, whether that's by our own minds or because they have been poisoned by society, experience, life, all these things.
Listen, that constantly persecuted. Really, I never felt constantly persecuted being fat.
So easy to just live in this bubble of shame, fear, sadness, anxiety, hate. It's just so easy to do that, because to be anything other than that,
because that's how
rebellious.
you
This
got
is kind of what I was talking a little bit last week when I was in Cyprus, saying that this was the first time in such a long time where I've just worn no sleeves and just been like, I don't care. My body deserves to see. It's going to be 30 degrees today in London. It's June. My body deserves to feel the breeze. My skin deserves to see sunlight, regardless of the shape, regardless of what my skin looks like, regardless of my size.
There is such a thing as modesty, though. I don't agree. I don't think it is. First off, I'm somebody who covers up in the sun, okay? I'm pale. I don't know, and she's English. I don't know how they do this. But they love the sun. They're like lizards. They go in it and they get all orange and roasted and burnt up, and they're like, yeah, that was nice. And I'm like, okay, I don't do that to myself. I cover up in the sun. I make sure that what I'm wearing will be light and breezy, but I don't expose myself to the sun, and I don't agree. My body deserves. I don't agree. I think you should, especially I don't know. I think there is such a thing as modesty and not showing too much. I do. And I think when you have a lot to show, you have that much flesh on you, it can be unsightly for numerous reasons. And it's not just that your body, the fat body is ugly or something. It's not just that. It's just that much flesh on display can be upsetting viscerally to a person. It's not. We should not be seeing that much flesh. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't know. I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm uncomfortable seeing anyone, like I said, too exposed.
I deserve
Like what
to
she's
feel
wearing right now is
even
very...
like I don't. Why am I trying? I was having this chat with my friend on Friday. She was talking about the fact that it was 27 degrees in the evening, and she was thinking about putting a cardigan on to come out, and she was like, "Screw it." And it's so true. Like we're so inbuilt to hide ourselves away, and just that is more of a punishment. It's a prison. I think what I'm trying to get to, and I'll get back to the letter finally, is the fact that I find it easy. I find hiding behind my weight an easy excuse to not do anything in my life, or to use it in ways that are convenient for me, as in I use it to hide in my comfort zone, because my comfort zone is upheld by my anxiety. But who is that really benefiting
My
me?
anxiety.
It's not benefiting me in any way. It might be benefiting my fear. It might be benefiting my current mood of I can't go out. Is it
My
benefiting me
fear.
long term? No. That's what kind of shocked me about that letter, was your weight isn't holding you back in the way you think that it is. That came from me. That came from somewhere inside of me. That came from somewhere, a part of me that needed me now to know that, because that would never have come into my mind normally.
It's probably on her mind
As I was talking about the
constantly.
hertz earlier, when she was playing that sound, she said that she played a sound that, like, I can't
Like,
remember what it
are
was,
you kidding
but
me?
like
How do
certain
you,
frequencies.
how,
Sorry,
okay, I'm sorry, but like, how is it not on your mind constantly? She's like surprised that that's what, of course, it's probably what she thinks about constantly. I mean, you are massive. You are much larger than most people around you. You take up a lot more space than they do. Uh, Self consciousness about that is going to be natural. It's not odd that you would be in any way. I mean, I would think you would think about that a lot. And when we are like I said, I'm a former fat person here. I know when you are fat, it is on your mind quite a bit. You do think about it quite a bit because it is something that is holding you back. It is something that's wearing you down. It is something that's a problem in your life that needs to be solved. So it is on your mind quite a bit. Again, that's like there's so much dishonesty with so much of this content that you find like this. And she's just one example.
frequencies, like if you look up frequency playlist, it'll be like healing frequency, less anxiety. Like there's loads of different music sounds that tap into your body and heal different things. So I think she did something for like self, I don't know, exploration. I don't know. I don't remember, but just the fact that this came out of me really surprised me. And it actually gave me a lot more confidence than I realized it would. Like at the time, I was like, oh no. I was like, no, it does. But like, no, I know this about myself. And I actually started talking to my therapist about this a little while ago. And that's the fact that I sometimes
And she has
feed.
a therapist. I'm sorry, I just had like a therapist. Okay, go on.
Feed sounds like an awful word. I sometimes feed off of sympathy and self pity. I couldn't really explain it properly the other day, so maybe this will help me flesh it out. Stop saying flesh it out, to speak to her about it. But like, whether it's self pity or whatever it is, it keeps me small because I'm like, oh, of course you're feeling bad. You could not do something. Of course, of course, of course, of course. Rather than, hang on a minute, you've only got one life. So I
Why
think
isn't she
since
talking
that
to the
letter,
therapist
I've just been trying to live more, I suppose. I've been trying to do more
about her
things.
eating disorder?
I've been trying to wear things I actually like wearing rather than some. And also Vinted helped with that. This isn't sponsored by Vinted. Oh, then now we come to the sponsored section. No. Vinted is an app that I think I've already got quite a lot of you addicted to. But I've really been trying to buy stuff that makes me feel great about my body. It fits me right now. I'm not trying to squeeze into a smaller size. I'm not trying to buy a size that I'll fit once I finish my diet. I'm buying something that fits me right now. I bought a few things that I've bought thinking they'll fit me and they don't, so I've sold them straight away. And oh my God, that pigeon. I'm just trying to celebrate myself now, basically, and I'm trying to work out what's going to make me feel better. Like wearing joggers every day is not going to make me feel better. Wearing clothes fuels so much of our self-expression, and so
Yes. I understand that, wanting nice clothes that can help you feel better, but, when you are that big, the one thing that's going to make you feel better is losing weight. And I think this is another thing about being fat that isn't talked about. If you are fat, your mental health is not good. All right? Like, I'll just say that again. If you are obese, if you are super morbidly obese, like this woman is in the video, your mental health is not going to be good. Your physical and mental health go together. If you're not eating well, if you're overeating, this is going to have serious impacts on your hormones, on your moods, on your thinking. And she's talking about like going to a therapist, and like it makes sense because it's so clear she's like seeking all of these healing modalities without like actually really staring down the number one thing that's going to make her feel better. If she lost 100 pounds, don't you think her quality of life would be better? Looking at her right now, I don't know what she weighs, but like I said, she's huge from what I can see. If she lost 150 pounds, she would be a new person. She would have so much more energy. She would feel better. Her mind would be clearer. Like I'm telling you, like dropping weight, it's like there's so much emotional baggage in that weight. And that's often, again, why fat people, don't want to let go. They don't want to let go of that because they're going to have to like let go of all the anger. They're going to have to let go of all the bad feelings. Anyway.
so much of no, it is it's an extension of us, isn't it, our clothes? And yes, they can be so expensive, and buying plus size clothes can be so expensive, which is why secondhand shops, whatever, vintage, are great because you get secondhand bargains. Even colors really, like the amount of
You're not
black
going to
I
shop
had in
your
my
way into
wardrobe was
feeling better.
unheard of. It was ridiculous. There we go. I bought some, what did I buy? I bought this amazing yellow print dress. I bought some black Lucy and Yak dungarees that I'm going to wear. But at the moment, it's way too hot to wear anything. Yeah, I bought a jumpsuit. Oh, you saw that in Cyprus. That's what I bought. I'm just looking at my chair now, so I'm like, I want to get some like baggy jeans. To wear jeans at my size and for them to be baggy, it's just like such a lovely thought. So that things aren't just all tight and restrictive, because that again affects our mental health. It affects everything. It affects our confidence, and I feel
If you
like
lost weight,
clothes
you're
is such an
supposed to be
easy
baggy.
base layer to start with, even though it's so wrapped up with so much shame, money, which is obviously an issue for all of us because we were living in a cost of living crisis. So me talking about people getting, this is the thing, you don't even have to get a whole new wardrobe. You can literally just get something that makes you feel good, whether it's a t-shirt in a different color, whether it's a headband, or whether it's a statement lipstick. Statement lipstick is underrated. Just putting on a lip, I mean, like, yeah, so what? Life isn't we aren't waiting for special occasions all the time. Every day, I know this is corny, but every day is a special occasion. Growing old is a privilege, and
Growing old. Do you
if
think
you're
she's going to
saving
grow
things for
old?
best, don't.
Do we think that this woman is going to grow old if she continues down the path she's on? Like, I'm a pretty princess. Okay, I do myself up every day. I treat every day like it's my special time to get dressed up. I don't have any casual clothing, so I get what she's talking about here for sure. But like I said, nothing was going to make her feel better than losing weight will. You know, nothing is going to make you feel better than losing weight will. You like clothing. Let me tell you, losing weight will open up a whole world of clothing to you that you couldn't previously have accessed. Being her size, it's hard to find clothes. It has gotten easier in the past few years with certain websites and that kind of thing. But honestly, like the joy of just going into a regular shop and being able to find something that can fit me, not being left out and like stuck looking at the scarves and hats. Okay, it's you'd be amazed how much better you will feel. I don't know. It's frustrating.
You're saving a candle for best. Don't just use things, do things now, because what are we waiting for? We can't take it with us.
You
This is
can do
depressing.
both.
But it's true.
You
We
can
can't take
live
things
your
with us,
best
and
life
we
and
wait.
lose
We
weight.
spend so much time waiting
They're
for the
not.
perfect time. When I'm going to be thin? When I'm going to be whatever? When I'm going to have the confidence to.
They're not. These things are not in competition with one another. You can lose weight and have fun at the same time. You can lose weight and have an active life and dress up at the same time. You can figure your stuff out and have a fun time. I don't think these things are incongruent.
To leave my job, my relationship, my kids. I'm joking. Sorry, the kids was a joke. Um, uh,
Yeah, you probably can't have kids
when now
because of what
now
you've done
again
to yourself.
now. When am I going to finally start clearing out my house? So many of you have said that you've started clearing up, so well done. So many of you are like, can't even start. Just start with a few items, a few things. If you live in a village, put some stuff in a box and write "free, please take" on it. People love free stuff. If you live in the middle of nowhere where no one passes your house, maybe don't do it because it will sit there. But there is a really good clothes donation company called Redonate. They're the ones that collected all my clothes. So I'll put their contact details below. They don't accept bric-a-brac or like little bits. God, the sun's coming. The sun's coming, which means it's gonna be hot. I didn't realise I was half in sun, half in shade. Sorry. I think also the words I wrote can be applied to everybody. They can be applied to you. You. This light is terrible. Sorry. You are magic. You are powerful. You. So I would love for you today to set yourself a 5-minute timer. That's all it's going to take. 5 minutes. Put us.
Again,
I'll
more
try
of
and find a
that
healing
disingenuous
hurts track
YouTuber
on Spotify.
nonsense. More of that disingenuous. She started at the beginning telling us she loved us, and now we're powerful and magic. Like, you don't know who the hell is watching. How do you know I'm powerful and magic? I mean, obviously I am, but come on.
And put it down below so you can spend 5 minutes. Promise me 5 minutes that you're just gonna write. Imagine all your dreams have come true. Whether it's that you've started your own business or whatever it might be, whatever you've even had the little
Is
sand,
losing weight not one of your
little
dreams?
sparkle of a thought at 2 a.m. Just pretend it's all true and tell yourself what you right now sitting here need to hear, because it's so important. It's so important. And I've realized that happiness comes from kindness. That's my phrase. I coined that. I don't know. I haven't heard it before. But it kind of dawned on me recently. Like, I am happier in
Kindness.
myself when I'm kinder to myself, where I'm more understanding, when I just give myself less of a hard time, because it's so easy just to be so horrible to ourselves all the time. And that's that's just what we get, one life. Why are we?
I know. I mean, the comments have been going. Thank you all. Happy New Moon in Gemini. And Achan, thank you for the super chat. That's quite kind of you. And I'll get to your comments, y'all, but I can't. Oh, someone said she's acting like a guru. I mean, yeah, YouTube is full of that, isn't it? It's full of that. People who have no. I'm not trying to discount what I do here on YouTube, because obviously it's a hobby that I have enjoyed having for many years. I know not everyone can do it, but at the same time, it isn't that hard to set up a channel. And if you at least just have the bravery to put yourself on camera and speak, I mean, that's all it really requires. And she does edit her videos, to be fair. So she does spend some time on it. But I just, there's a lot of people on YouTube who sound like they know what they're talking about, and they don't. And the proof here is visible, like lose weight, then you'd be amazed. You would be amazed how much more positive you can be. Okay? Like, again, this is toxic, fake positivity that is rampant and encouraged. Like, happiness is kindness, comes from kindness. What happiness is a fleeting emotion. It isn't the most important thing in the world. It isn't kind to continue to overeat and make yourself sick, and to keep yourself at a size that is damaging you internally, that is putting you in a flesh prison, that could very well make you physically disabled, that could cause all kinds of problems with various organs, that puts you at risk for, more cancers and diseases. It's not kind to have a blasé attitude about something that is so serious. It is serious. This isn't like an extra 20 pounds we're talking about here. This is hundreds and hundreds of extra pounds on a human frame that was never designed to carry that much weight. It is terrible. Oh, Dee Dee, thank you. How kind. I got a couple super chats today. And I'm talking about something that's difficult. And, like I said, I used to be fat, so it really upsets me to see, like, let's be honest about it. All right? Your fat does not diminish you as a person in any way. It doesn't take away your worth. But it isn't a kind thing to do to yourself. And until you get real about it, you're hurting yourself. Don't try to rationalize it.
We're doing this to ourselves. Honestly, why? Who is benefiting from this apart from capitalism? And apart from capitalism, the fact that it makes us, buy more diets, buy more things that are going to try and change us. No, I know I've just said buy new wardrobe, but that's different. That's different.
Okay, so diets cost less. Diets cost less than it costs to maintain that weight. And again, losing weight is simple. It is eating less calories than you consume, than your body consumes. Okay, like consuming less than you use. Let me put that in better terms. Consuming less calories than you use. At that weight, like I said, I don't know exactly, but it takes a lot of calories to maintain that weight. period. You would save money if you ate less. You're worried about the cost of living. You're worried about capitalism. You will save money eating less.
Self-expression is such a beautiful thing, and you deserve to express yourself in whatever way you want. I think another thing that's
Whatever
really
way
helped
I
me
want. No,
recently
I don't.
is I've been a lot more open to my friends about my weight.
I don't deserve to express myself in any way I want, and neither does anybody. Come on, we live in a society.
Because most of my best friends have are straight sized, so that means like
It means
they could go into a
they're
regular
normal
shop and buy clothes.
sized. It means they're not overweight. It means they're not obese.
And that has meant for me that I've never really spoken about my weight and my struggles with them, which I actually mentioned this to my therapist a little while ago, and she was like, "Why not?" And I'm like, I didn't really ever think about it. Like, I didn't want to like embarrass myself, embarrass them, all this stuff. But that's
Your
all just crap.
therapist sucks. Her therapist sucks. I will say that. Your therapist. I could never be a therapist. Like I couldn't, because I would be just too bluntly honest with the people in front of me. I mean, maybe I'd be great at it, but like your therapist is not helping you.
It's all my own crap. So I'm going to move my camera because the light's annoying me. Being more open with my friends about my weight and my struggles has really freed me up. Just showing myself and my struggles more light, and knowing that I don't need to like hide in the dark like a little gremlin. For instance, I think I spoke about this a little bit before, but we're going to do it again. I went to a concert at the Barbican at the end of April with my friend Amy for my birthday, and I didn't know how I was going to fit in the seats, which, yeah, is freaking awful.
Yeah, it is awful.
When we got there, I was a bit uncomfortable, and I just said to her, "Is it all right if I need to just because obviously there was a person going to sit next to me as well, the other side. So I just said, is it all right if I just like put my arm around you, like put my arm around the chair if needed?" She was like, "Yeah, of course." Whereas before, I probably would have sat there like that, like, and just berated myself. I did talk about this before. I would have just berated myself, but just like opening up, because me and you, deserve to be seen and deserve to be loved as we are. Let's just sit with that. Take a deep breath.
Lady, you have admitted you're crazy. Don't like really. She's oh my goodness. This is wild. These kind of content creators drive me nuts. And people like eat it up. They're like, this is so deep.
None of this is easy, is it? If it was, everyone would be doing it, and we'd all be happy. None of us would be anxious. I really feel like things started to change since I wrote that letter. Also, I think the warmer weather helped me because I just feel a bit more alive. I think I struggle with winter more than I let myself believe, with seasonal affective disorder. Seasonal affectional disorder. I don't know. I think I started to struggle with that more than I realise. And again, I've said it before, look at who you are following on social media. Anyone who doesn't make you feel good, get rid of them. Whether you know them as a friend, whether they're a relative, whatever it is, get rid of them. Like, you don't need to follow anyone who doesn't make you feel good, make you feel positive, make you excited to look at their stuff. I had a massive cold the other day.
Okay, wow, okay. There's a difference between feeling good. Like, did you hear what she just says? I'm going to replay that actually. I'm going to just go back slightly. That was wild.
Seasonal affective disorder, seasonal affectional disorder. I don't know. I think I started to struggle with that more than I realised. And again, I said it before, look at who you are following on social media. Anyone who doesn't make you feel good, get rid of them. Whether you know them as a friend, whether they're a relative, whatever it is, get rid of them. Like, you don't need to follow anyone who doesn't make you feel good, make you feel.
Okay, curate your social media and remove relatives and friends if they don't make you feel good or positive. Great advice. Oh my God, we have a effing hero. Ding, ding, ding. Amy, that is amazing. Amazing. That is an excellent accomplishment. Good work. You have done a good thing for yourself and society as a whole. No, like also like other people don't exist just to be conduits to your pleasure. Your oh, you don't make me feel good. What kind of thinking is that? That's very that kind of thinking is so ridiculous, and it's again it's that kind of infantile black and white teenage thinking. Again, you don't think clearly when you're this large, when you have this much fat on you. Like, you tend to think in very simplistic terms, and you tend to like think, oh my goodness, how do I put this? You tend to think about things in terms of like gratification. Other people are not there for your gratification. I'm not saying that, if somebody is posting stuff that's like super negative or distractive or just like disturbing, that you can't mute them or unfollow them, but like tying it into her whole message here, life isn't about always feeling good. Okay, we do have to deal with the things that don't feel good sometimes. Sometimes freedom and liberation are on the other side of doing the things and facing the things that don't feel good. Actually, a lot of the times, life isn't about feeling good all the time. It's not one endless pleasure after another. And people definitely are not supposed to be conduits of that for us.
Positive, make you excited to look at their stuff. I had a massive cold the other day. It felt really good. Yeah, I mean, I could, as you know, I could wax lyrical on it for years and years and years. But I think I've said basically all what I want to say about body stuff. And also to go back to clothes, like buying stuff that will actually fit you, slash, not stuff that's just like ridiculously oversized and will fit you regardless because it's a big size and that's what you wear. Because that's another category I fall into. I'll buy stuff that's just like way too big that makes me just feel horrible anyway. So it's like a middle ground of finding something for me that looks good, is comfortable, maybe a bit fashionable, and it makes me feel good in a colour that I like. And I think that's a really good place to start if you're struggling. Something I heard the other day on my favourite podcast, Just Break Up, where they were talking about things being cringe and things being like embarrassing. And one of them was like, cringe, like embarrassing, cringe doesn't exist. It's just something we've, as a society, like made up. Like, oh my God, she's so cringe. Like, why would she do that? Like, it's not a thing. It's just,
It's a thing.
it isn't a thing. Like, oh, why would I wear a red lipstick out in the day? Who freaking cares? Why would I wear heels if I'm going to the supermarket? I don't know. I never would wear anyway. Anything. Like, there are no rules with this life.
Why don't people get dressed before
So
they
just
leave
do it.
the house?
Cringe is not a thing. And that brings me on to my next thing. Nice segue, Lauren. So that moment, that night at the V&A, I told you that that girl looked into my eyes as she was singing, and then she like did this thing with her heart. I realised that there was a girl standing next to me who filmed it, and I also realised that it was probably the singer's friend. So I found the singer's friend on Instagram, and I messaged her, and I was like, "Hey, this is really cringe." I said the word, but I think that you filmed me the other night when uh, the girl was singing. I was wondering if you have that video. I was wondering if you or anyone you know have that video because I'd really love to see it. And she was like, she took a while to respond, like a day, and I was like, oh my God, because she was so cool. She was like such a cool looking human, and I was just like feeling like an absolute toad. This is the thing. Again, just instantly negative
You
about
feel
myself.
like a toad
She just
most
looked really
of the
cool. That
time.
was all. She just looked really cool. This is also important. When you notice the negativity, it's when you notice the negative. It's when you don't notice the negativity that is the ongoing issue, I think. Because if you don't notice it and it's just so natural that that's just the world you live in. I noticed that was bad. Like, we both looked great that night, and that really makes me feel
No.
awkward saying that. Okay, I'll say it. She just had a really cool lesbian vibe. That was it. It was the fact that she just looked like she didn't care. Short blonde hair, just really cool. I know that sexuality does not just make you instantly cool, but she was just that kind of cool person. Anyway, also, you should never assume sexuality and you should never assume gender. But I do follow her on Instagram now. And anyway, that's not the
It's
point.
fine to
So I
assume
messaged her, and
sexuality
then
and
she
gender.
messaged back and
There's
she was
no
like,
problem
hey,
with that.
no problem
That's
at all. Absolutely not
something
cringe. Let me have a look and I'll get back
and
to you.
it's apparent
And I was like, okay, phew.
all the time.
So then I waited like a day and she sent it to me. So I've got the video, which is really nice because I've got that memory now. And if I'd have let myself be victim to the cringeometer and been like, no, I can't do it, it's too cringe, I would never have done that and I would not have that memory. So
Man, like again,
yeah,
it's like that.
if you want something,
Like I
ask for
said,
it.
that very teenage mentality. You know, what kind of adult person is in their head that much about something? It's totally normal to want to get a video. If somebody filmed you, it's totally normal to maybe want that, especially at like a concert. But she's in her head about it, like, because she doesn't think clearly. And again, I mean, earlier in the video, she had said my fear and my anxiety. So like, she still hasn't recognized that these things, her emotions, are not her. Like that's the level she's at. She still hasn't like understood that she is the one in charge. But I mean, again, like that's the kind of the position, you know, when you are that fat, you're out of control, and you're not in control of your emotions. You're not in control of anything. So I mean, again, it's another way in which being this fat and maintaining this kind of fat really holds you back. It holds you back in so many ways. Like I'm glad she challenged herself here, like to message someone. But again, it's kind of pathetic that a woman her age is struggling with basic normal things like that, where she's actually like having some sort of, you know, anxiety about it.
What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? She can be like, oh my god, what a loser, not respond to me. That's it. But she didn't. She did it. So let's do a
Very
little life update before we go. So what's been happening? I've been working a lot. It was Mum's birthday this week, so we had a family meet-up time yesterday. My dad made this amazing game that's like, it fits on the massive table outside, and it's like he made like a ramp.
This
And
confidence.
yeah, I'm also feeling more confident to like put myself out there again. I'm like back on a couple of dating apps now and talking to a couple of people, and it feels good. I'm realizing that I'm a lot different this time. Like I've got, for instance, when I went out with this guy on our first date, um, he was really nice, and I was literally sitting there like, I don't even have to like you, because in the past, being in a bigger body, dating in a bigger body, I was just like so desperate to be liked. I was just like, oh, do you like me? Do you giving the person all the power? Do you like me? But that's not what it's about. It's equal. Obviously, he likes me. He's human now. But no, but on a serious note, like I was like, I don't even have to like him. I could be like, no, I don't like you. I don't want a second date. Mm-mm. And that felt really, really powerful. It felt really, really good. So yeah, I think
Again, I don't think like amazing, like all this stuff, like dating. Why are you dating right now? Like dating is not a good priority for you. Like what? And I will say this, like you will have much better luck dating if you lose weight. You will find more people you like if you lose
it's just a
weight.
few things recently that I've added up to me feeling good, and I really want this to continue. Also, I haven't been going to the gym, which is a big thing. I haven't been making myself exercise. I've just been, even though I've been paying for it, let's not talk about that. I've been having like a bit of like exercise rehab, if you will. Like I've just been not going, and I haven't been feeling bad about it. And I just don't want to go, so I'm not going to go. I'm not going to feel bad about it. I will go when I want to go. I'm not going to. I'm not going to force myself. Sorry, I'm not going to force myself to work out. Simple. If I want to move my
I don't
body,
know.
I will move my body. But I'm not going
Exercise,
to.
again, like I'm going to say this, working out is irrelevant. You're not fat because of how much you exercise. You're fat because of how much you eat. So I don't even think going to the gym and having a gym membership at her size is worth her time. You know, somebody suggested she should just walk around more. Unless her gym has a pool, she could get in the pool and like, walk in there, do some movement in there. Other than that, like you have to think about like what exercise entails, and when you have that much extra weight on your body, what you're doing. Like a lot of exercising in a body that large is actually going to cause more damage. You're going to risk injury a lot more. If you fall, you might hurt somebody else. Like, I'm not like, I don't know. I don't, but again, she's complaining about the cost of living. She's complaining about capitalism. She's complaining about, how much everything costs. And yet she's paying for a gym membership she isn't using. Like, okay.
Do
Makes
it out of punishment. I'm not
sense.
going to do it out of fear, out of whatever it might be. That's been really positive. I was actually going to go for a swim yesterday, but I could not. Oh, it's bright. It's bright. Oof. Anyway, I was going to go for a swim yesterday, but I just couldn't. The thought of getting out my air-conditioned car and going and putting on a swimming costume in 30-degree heat was just not the one. So I just drove to the car. I drove to the gym, sat in the car, and drove home again.
Wow.
Oh my god. I might go today because the thought of just like plunging into some cold water just feels amazing. The thought of it feels amazing. Right, I need to go and edit this now. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 6:34 a.m.
Oh wow, I've been talking for 50 minutes. Shit, son. One woman show. Over and out. To tip me or buy me a coffee, an iced coffee. My coffee link is below, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.
I mean, yeah, she's okay. We're done watching her. Terrible. Terrible. Like, and even that end there, like, she's very inflamed. You can tell by her skin. She is massive. She's laying down in her videos. And a few times she was like struggling to breathe. Like, there were a few times I heard her gasping, taking big gulps of air. And she's on, like, she's bragging about, or like, not even bragging, I don't want to call it bragging, but she's like talking about driving to the gym to go swimming and sitting in her parked car and not getting out. That was wild. I'm sorry, Silent Voice, but you're gonna have to watch on catch up. I don't want to like get. I think her channel name was visible in the video. It seemed to be that she put it in there like that, so you can find out if you wish. I don't want anyone to go harass her, obviously, because obviously she's she's got enough problems, but the way she's thinking is very skewed and messed up, and obviously I don't agree with it. Amy said fat causes internal inflammation. It does. The more fat you have on your body, the more inflammation you will have. And inflammation is the source of so many diseases and problems. And honestly, I did not know that. I only learned that in the past year after losing weight. I've been maintaining this weight loss for a long time. Had I known that Had I known that when I developed rheumatoid arthritis in my mid-20s, I definitely would have taken, I think, weight loss a little bit more seriously. I did not know that fat caused inflammation. I had no idea. I think if I had known that, I would have maybe sooner got more serious about losing weight. But like I said, and I'm just grateful it did happen. I know, wild. Weeb Hate Crew said, who could love her? I don't know. Somebody could. There are people that are attracted to fat bodies, or like fat on bodies. But I have to say, in my experience, a lot of the times when I was dating as a fat woman, a lot of people thought that they could treat me badly because I was fat. It was just a way that they thought like they could have a little bit more control in the situation. Or, if I think a lot of the times when you're fat, you have less options. So, yeah, I think there is a mentality about that. It's not a good thing. I'll say that, like, I don't think as a woman, if you're fat, like you are putting yourself at some risk dating. It should not be her priority right now to be on a dating app. She should be, getting some fitness apps. Maybe, firing her therapist and hiring a coach instead. Like, because the main priority for her mental and physical health right now is weight loss. And for anybody in that, like at that size, you're not going to get mentally healthy, deal with like all of the problems you're having, all of them will be improved by a substantial weight loss. That's just reality. You're dealing with anxiety, you're dealing with fear, you're dealing with whatever other problems you seem to have. I don't know. You're not going to be able to really deal with those problems too until like the barrier to dealing with them is gone. Again, oftentimes people use the fat as a shield. They use the fat as a wall, a defense mechanism. So they're losing weight makes them feel vulnerable. Okay, the thought of actually being thin would make them vulnerable, but they're not actually going to deal with any of their mental health problems until they get vulnerable. And again, mental health is a topic that I need to just go live and complain about some other day because it's nonsensical, the obsession, I think, on the internet now and in modern culture with the mental health, which is actually oftentimes mental distress that so many people seem to be struggling with. That again is another self-imposed issue. Yeah, I mean, I might write that down. Just have a mental health diatribe one of these nights that I go live. I find that topic to be very just exasperating in and of itself. Like everybody and their mama is like has struggling with their mental health, and it's like, you scratch the surface and it's like your habits are out of whack. You have no purpose. You eat like crap. You are addicted to multiple substances. You're always on that damn phone. Like, for real. Silent Voice mentioned that fat causes, it lowers IQs in developing children. I have heard this as well, and I believe it, actually. Like, and not just in children, but again, like I honestly think in large adults too, like there is a stunting of the ability to actually use the brain. And I think maybe that part of that is the inflammation in and of itself. You know, the inflammation that your body is under, it's going to affect all of your organs, and your brain is one of them. I have no doubt it's much harder to use our brains when we have a lot more fat on our body. It's not, it's not, I'm sure this isn't something that sounds good or positive, but it is true. So yeah, F that lady's fake toxic positivity and her acceptance of something that is really unacceptable, and she should be a lot more concerned about, or a lot more worried about. Like honestly, especially at her age, she does not look young. I mean, she looks like she could be my age or maybe older. It's hard to know though, you know, with sometimes fat makes people look a lot older. You know, sometimes it does. Sometimes it really does age people. So like I have seen a lot of like fat influencers, and they look like they're in their mid 30s, and they're like women in their early 20s. So I don't know how old she is, but like I'm saying, she looks like she's of a certain age. And I know the older she is, the worse is, the more that, you know, health clock is ticking. Hi, baby. And she may have she may already have like problems too, you know, we don't know. Hello, my love. Are you glad mama's not fat anymore? Are you glad? Yes, glad, you happy. And she made you not be fat too. Oh, yes. We Pay Crew has coyotes in the neighborhood. Well, get your cat back inside. Silent voice. Join a gym and get a personal trainer. I think people have no idea how much training personal trainers actually have. I mean, at her though, I don't agree. Like I said, I don't think at her level, she said her gym has a pool. If she's using that, great. But like the number one reason why people are super morbidly obese like that is their relationship with food. It is not about exercise. And a lot of the times, what I've seen with a lot of these fat influencers that are always working out, or that like regularly work out and like, you know, model their plus size clothing and whatnot, you know, they, sweetheart, you know, their trainers are having them do exercises that are actually very dangerous. And I, you know, when I was obese, I did see a trainer as well. And they don't really understand. I mean, I'm not saying all of them. I think some of them do, but a lot of them don't really know how to work with obese people, because obese people, yes, they need to move their bodies, but the number one issue is the food. The number one issue is the food, and maybe standing up a bit more would help. Like at her level, you know, in the video, she was laying down. So I just imagine she probably spends a lot of her day laying down. And something that would be helpful and that would burn more calories is just if she stood up more. But again, like when you're that big, physical activity can be dangerous. So the number one thing is to lose the weight, and that means dealing with the eating. Okay, baby, come on. Thank you. A lot of them don't want to deal with the fact that they either are binge eaters, or, you know, that they just are, their portions are out of control and they're eating way more than they need. Okay, I don't want you up on the desk because I have my art supplies up here, okay? You want, no, you don't. You won't. He's gonna do what he wants. We've said that they needed to learn all this. Amy says obesity-related illnesses are no joke. Amy suggests walking around the block with a friend. Yes, that's good exercise. I don't know what, what state her knees are in, ankles. Mhm. Well, that's good. It's good to know that there's some good training out there. I mean, it depends. It really depends. So, I mean, with her, like I said, I don't think she should be working with a trainer just yet. I think she needs to get her eating figured out, and then she can figure out, how she wants to train once she gets some of the weight off of her. Well, that is good. Weave has never been obese or severely overweight. That is good. It is not helpful. But anyway, thank you all for watching this with me. I didn't know what to expect. It was not as outrageous as some of the nonsense that is out there in the fat acceptance community overall, but it was pretty nonsensical and definitely a lot of denial and a lot of missing the point going on, And yeah, let's just agree to end the toxic fake positivity that is inundating everything and everyone and turning honesty into some kind of, I don't know, not just honesty, it's the truth. They're making an enemy of the truth is what it is. And if you're making an enemy of the truth, you are very lost, because the truth is true regardless of how we feel about it, regardless of how it makes us feel, whether we feel good about it or not. Not everything that is positive in reality, not everything that is going to serve you and serve life in you and serve your good overall is going to make you feel good. So there's more to life than pleasure. Silent Voice says fat acceptance is a toxic death cult, in my opinion. I agree. I agree very much. And a lot of them, it gets pretty dark. I don't know what this is responding to. Or maybe did I miss a comment from before? Okay, yeah, I don't know. Okay. No, yeah, I didn't find anything. No, I was just rambling about an ex. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, that is true. Well, I hope that you are figuring out how to love yourself better. That is difficult. It is very difficult to be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't love themselves to a certain degree. There, it is. Again, you can't do that for someone else. They have to want it for themselves and in their own lives. And if they don't, then it can be pretty difficult for you to have a decent relationship, because they're always going to be, trying to get that out of you, trying to get that whatever they can't give themselves. And there has to be some level of self-love in order to love another person as well. I mean, you can't really do it until you learn how to do it for yourself, I think, because you don't know what it looks like until you actually figure out how to love yourself. Love always, remains just a feeling that you think you have. It doesn't become an action, and love has to be an action. Can't be a feeling. That's what she would say. Well, goodness. Well, This is an interesting question. At what point do you think emotional exchange becomes emotional dependence? I don't know. I mean, they're different things. Emotional exchange and emotional dependence are two different things. I don't know when one becomes another. They don't become one another. Emotional dependence is not emotional exchange, I think emotional dependence, what that looks like is I mean, I know what it looks like. It looks like relying on or expecting another person to be the one that facilitates your emotional feelings. They facilitate whether you feel good, whether you feel bad. It's a lot to put on someone. I'll say that. Like, you're just putting a lot on someone that they never can really fulfill anyway. It's never. It's something that can never really be fulfilled. If you're I don't know, it just asks too much. It doesn't mean that somebody else can't make you feel good. It's normal to have positive feelings about someone else, and those positive feelings leading into, positive feelings within yourself. But it's just, yeah. Nothing human, it says, reciprocity without expecting reciprocity. I mean, you should, I don't know. I think it's difficult because with relationships, there's some level of exchange expected. There's some level of service being asked of one person to another. So, the reciprocity thing, I think, it's fine to expect reciprocity of some kind in a relationship, but what that looks like is going to be different from relationship to relationship. Not every person can give the same thing. Some person may be the more flowery, romantic type, and maybe that's what you want, but your partner isn't that type, or something like that. Maybe you're with somebody who shows their love in a different way. Maybe through acts of service, or maybe through, gifts or something like that. People are all different. So I don't know. You just have to kind of figure out what the exchange is, and what your role is in this person's life and what's expected of you. And vice versa. And sometimes that can change depending on circumstances. And in the best, I think, relationships and marriages, it is expected that when circumstances change, you figure out how to change with them together. But like I said, I don't know exactly. I don't know when dependence comes on. I think dependence is about you as a person. Are you independent or are you dependent? Most people are dependent to some degree. Very few people are completely independent. Independent people tend to stay single a lot more, or they'll be single longer than people who aren't. Dependent people have to be in a relationship. They don't feel right if they're not in a relationship. They don't, it feels like something's missing if they're not in a relationship. You can't have a one-size-fits-all blueprint. Exactly. Oh. And think about it too in terms of even in your own life. I don't know how many relationships you've been in, if you've had how many you've had, but I've had a couple of relationships, long-term ones, and each of those was different. How I showed up, how they showed up, different. Some ways they were similar, some ways, but you can't expect one person to, people are just not going to be the same. Amy says there are peaks and valleys. Exactly. In a long-term relationship like a marriage, things change. People change as they age, as they go through the experiences of life. And what hopefully happens is that you figure out some way that your roles in each other's life can adapt to fit the circumstance, because you've made this commitment to be in service to this other person. But I don't know. Again, I'm single. I've been single for a while, so I don't know if I'm always the best person to go to about these things. I think, a single person does have insight in some ways about relationships. But how I view it at this point, and I think a lot of the time, a lot of long-term relationships, boyfriend-girlfriend dynamics, girlfriend-girlfriend, boyfriend-boyfriend dynamics, a lot of these things are wastes of time. They just are, I think dating needs to be done strategically and intentionally with a view to get married, but you can't be expecting somebody who is not your spouse to serve you in the way that a spouse is intended to. And I think maybe that's where we get kind of confused in this culture, because so many people are doing everything in the wrong order. They're getting into a relationship, moving in together, having sex, having kids, buying a house, and they haven't even married. There is a proper order to do things in, and I think we get confused because there's this lack of understanding that there's a proper order and there's a time and a place and a relationship that certain things happen in, But I think a lot of people are very confused. I don't know. We're living in confused times as we have witnessed today and as we will witness again in the future. Amy says, oh, pardon me, I strongly believe in a good marriage. Yeah, I do too. I've seen a good marriage has a ripple effect in the community, in families. It touches the people around you too. It doesn't just serve the two people in it. When the right two people come together, and make that commitment and live that life, it really does serve society generally. It is a place that is, and it is a type of relationship that overwhelmingly can be positive, which, would seem why it is under attack so often in our current cultural climate. There's so many different, seen it recently. Somebody I was subscribed to for many years was making videos, just railing against marriage recently. I was kind of like, oh, I think I'm going to unfollow this channel, like, because we don't have anything in common if this is your mentality. And I don't think, I don't think that mentality serves ultimately society. We have to come together. It's that relationship is supposed to bring out the best qualities of individuals by, in some way humbling them. It's supposed to be a good thing. So, when you have like so many influencers talking against it, you have like the red pill community types that are just, trying to convince men to not get married. That's going to have really negative effects in our culture. I mean, marriage is already disrespected enough. It's going to have pretty bad effects if just the sort of people who are traditionally minded are being convinced that they should avoid marriage altogether. I don't think they should. Ultimately, the impression I got was that I was a complication rather than an addition to her life, which is fair enough. Maybe she was there to teach me. I am, in effect, Peter Pan. If you know that about yourself, you better grow the F up, Peter. You can't be kissing Wendy, if you're not willing to grow up. If you don't want to become a man, then you don't have any business trying to be in a woman's life. I'll just say that. Like, women need. I'll just say this. Like, I know women are different, but what women are looking for is, someone that is going to make them feel safe, stable, and secure. And if you're not able to provide that for a woman, they're not going to stick around. They're always going to be looking over their shoulder for the next thing. And, maybe they'll like you for a bit. Maybe they'll have fun with you for a bit. But, once they kind of come to, they're going to realize that it's not the situation they're looking for. And even if I don't think, a lot of women aren't even conscious of this, because a lot of times people aren't even like real with themselves about what they're looking for. They won't even acknowledge what their real desires are. But if you want a woman, like a grown woman in your life, you're gonna have to meet her. And I think that's a big problem in our culture now too. It's like the women are kind of in the leadership positions in a lot of ways. And I don't think that's always wrong. I think oftentimes women will be the more dominant partner in terms of determining, what is done, how life is lived, what they do for fun, that kind of thing. But there comes a point, where it's gotten very hard, I think, for a lot of women to find men that they feel comfortable like committing to, because a lot of the time, it is the case that women are often more educated than men. Women are out earning men in a lot of respects. And that's going to have a pretty big crisis, because it's so counter to, I think, the natural way things have been done for a very long time. I say natural way things have been done. It's done the divisions of labor between men and women specifically are such that, they are in many ways natural, because women are the ones that give birth. So it makes sense that we end up being the ones nesting with children, like making a home, taking on that role more. Like, it is what it is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. In fact, I think it's a good thing. But there has been such a disruption of the gender roles that a lot of the time people don't know what they're supposed to bring to a relationship, what they're looking for, and they don't even think about like what they're looking for is looking for. That's the other thing. Like, think in your mind's eye, imagine the kind of person you're looking for, and then ask yourself, who is she looking for? Or who is he looking for? Are you that? Are you that? Like, are you even that? And I think, I had a really awkward, I don't even know how to get into it. I had this guy who I was friendly towards this past year, who was a neighbor, and I befriended him, and then he kind of got weird because, we know why, because he wanted to hit it, and I made it clear, you're not going to hit it. Like, I don't do that. I'm not available for that. And then, he got mad about that and tried to make me jealous, which didn't work because I didn't care. But I was just kind of like watching with bemused interest. I don't know how to even describe it. Like, he had sent me a message basically telling me that he was like looking for young women to date, in a way that was trying to, like, I could tell he was trying to upset me. And I was like, all right, go have fun with that. Like, obviously there were numerous reasons why he was never going to hit it with me. But number one reason was he wasn't a real man, like he had nothing, nothing going for him that a woman is looking for. He did not make me feel safe and secure. He could not really do much for me. That's the other thing about women. Like, women want someone who makes their lives easier. You're supposed to come in and take some of the burden off of her so that she can be in her feminine, so that she can, blossom more. If you're not coming into her life and making it easier, then what you're doing is you are adding more complications, and you're actually taking from her. You are taking from her. And when you take from her, she will wither. Now, that's what loving a woman is like. You have to be willing to come in and serve her in some way. You know, what can you do to make her life easier? What can you do to add to her? How are you going to like take burdens off of her shoulder? You know, make her feel like she doesn't have to worry about as much. Just going off. So like I said, you know, it was a circumstance. Like anyway, I brought up that circumstance that I went through just to kind of like illustrate, like, if you're not able to do that, then your best bet is to like try to date very young women who are like just kind of probably under the age of 23. Because, you know, once a woman kind of hits her mid 20s, she's going to want more. You know, when they're younger, they kind of like are more excited or interested in, you know, having fun. But like at a certain point, like it's not fun anymore. And it's just not. I mean, like, you know, it might be fun like a couple of times depending on the temperament of the woman, but it becomes a drag very quickly. I was defined as an entertaining distraction. Oof, oof. Well, you know, best of luck to you. I don't know what you need to do to develop more as a man. I mean, you'll know more for yourself, like where you have room to grow. But like, it just sounds like you're going to have these kind of problems with women until these things get resolved with you. So, you know, and that's the thing with all people. We all have work we can do on ourselves. We all have ways we can develop and grow more and become more like, you know, what we are looking for is looking for. You know, you want this ideal like love in your mind, what it looks like. Just ask yourself, am I in any way a match to that? If not, get to work. All right, I'm gonna go. It's been lovely having you all here. Thank you for the chat and your comments and questions and super chats. It was very generous of a couple of you. I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for bearing with me as I went through that video. It was painful. And yeah, I'll see you all another time. Bye.